I'm Erika Barnhart, and welcome to the Pause and Fast podcast. I've lost 90 pounds using healthy eating and clean fasting, but more importantly, I've gained clarity, confidence, and a love for real self-care. This podcast is about sharing what I've learned and creating a community where we can grow together. One mindful choice, one fast, and one day at a time. Because every time you pause, it's a choice. When you stop just for a moment, you take back your control. When you sip water instead of reaching for a snack, when you breathe instead of rushing, fasting is power because when you pause, you're choosing yourself. So grab a cup of coffee or your water, take a deep breath, and let's dive in together. And now for a quick disclaimer. The views and experiences shared on this podcast are of my own and my guests, and they're meant for information and inspiration. They are not a prescription. I am not a medical professional, so please don't take my word over your doctor's. We'll be chatting about things like intermittent fasting and hormone health. And while it might sound like we've tried it all, your body is unique. So before changing your diet or your hormone health plan, check in with your healthcare provider. This podcast is all about sharing ideas and good conversations, not medical instructions. So always listen to your body. It usually knows what's up. All right. Hi, I'm Erika Barnhart, and welcome to the Pause and Fast podcast. I am so excited to introduce my guest today, Wendy Taquino. Wendy is from Monrovia, California. She's 51 years old, and she is a professional singer. Welcome, Wendy. I am so happy to make your acquaintance.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming onto the podcast today to talk to me. I'm so excited that I've met you through social media and been following your journey for a little bit of time. But I would like it if you could please tell us when and why did you begin intermittent fasting?
Sure, I'd happy to. A little precursor to before I started fasting, I had been on a roller coaster weight loss journey my whole life. From the time I was a preteen through my 40s, I was on every diet known to man. I probably have gained and lost 1,000 pounds in my lifetime. But in 2017, well, let me back up a little bit. In 2006, I had a major depressive episode that lasted for like 2 solid years. And I binge ate during that time and I gained over 100 pounds. And
Wow.
yeah. So when
That's a
I
lot.
started feeling better emotionally after that time period ended, I was like, what happened to my body? And just thought like, I'll get back. I know what to do. I know how to diet. I know how to lose weight. And then the yo-yo just started over again for the next 10 years. And I ended up at an all-time high weight of 285. And so I had some counsel from someone who said, have you thought about weight loss surgery? And I felt like that was a cop out. I wouldn't recommend it now to anyone, but at the time I was so desperate and feeling like maybe this is what I needed to do to move forward. And so I ended up having gastric bypass surgery in 2017 and lost 100 pounds in that year. But then basically what they tell you is you get about a year of time for surgery weight loss, where your body it affects your hormones, your appetite, and then obviously physically you can't eat as much. But over time, your stomach will stretch and you can eat more again, especially if you don't have any restriction. And so,
Yes.
after a couple of years, I started to gain weight again. And I got married at 19, and we were just having like a big newlywed party. And next thing I knew, I had gained 20 pounds, and I was like, we're not doing this, right? We're not putting this
That's
yo-yo back
happy
into
fat,
motion.
right?
Yeah, we're not putting this yo-yo back into motion.
Yes.
And I was like, I've got to figure this out for good, and that was when somebody had recommended intermittent fasting to me, and I started doing some research. And I had been doing keto, a ketogenic diet, which also worked for me, but it's super restrictive. And also it just felt like cutting out whole food produce and fruits and certain vegetables because they were higher carb just didn't feel sustainable. It was like,
I felt
it's
the
not like
same. Yes.
Yeah, it's not like I'm cutting out, crappy ultra processed foods. I'm cutting out apples and bananas.
Yeah, that's what bothered me too. I'm like, I understand the potato chips. Okay, I can
Mhm,
accept that. But when I'm walking
mhm.
past, this healthy fruit and stuff, I was like, man, my body would probably really appreciate some of that.
Yes. And so I started doing research about a bariatric keto program. So that it was tailored for people who had had weight loss surgery. And like I paid the money to have them like figure out what my macros should be and all of that. And they allowed um, a 50-calorie intermittent fasting. Like you could have cream in your coffee. You could have up to 50
Okay.
calories during your fast. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do this." And then I started reading Jen Stevens. I read Delay, Don't Deny. And as we all know, her emphasis on the clean fast was something I hadn't heard before. And then and it was appealing to me in that you focus on the clean fast, but then you could eat what you want during your window and not be as restrictive, and add carbs back in. So I
Yes.
started that in January. Let's see, it was March 1st, 2020 was when I started fasting, and
Okay.
um, and I went clean fasting like about just like a week later, like after I had finished reading Delay, Don't Deny. And I gradually worked my way up from, I started 16:8 protocol and worked to 18:6 within a couple days. And then by week 2, I was at a 24 protocol. And that was when the fat just kind of started melting off. And so I lost
Okay.
that 20 pounds of regain, plus about 40 more over the next couple of years. And so I've been maintaining a 140-pound weight loss since like 2021. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
that's a lot
Yeah.
of weight to release.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you found that your sweet spot was about 20 and 4 hours
Yeah.
of eating window and
Yeah.
20
A
hours.
20 hour fast, 4 hour eating window was like my sweet spot for fat loss, where like I really didn't have to think too much about what I was eating as long as I was getting in good whole food nutrients and eating to society, if I could say that word.
Yes.
And just listening to the cues my body's was giving me, and I learned a lot during that time about what works for me and what doesn't as far as foods are concerned, and how to break my fast. And I'm still learning, as I go. But yeah, I love it.
That's the message. We're always still learning.
Yeah.
Yes, and people always ask me too, "What is your eating window?" And I would say it changes all the time. But I also
Hmm.
really that's what I usually answer, about a 24 really works well for me as well.
Yeah.
So,
Maintenance
how
in
have
some ways, yeah. Sorry. In some ways I was gonna say maintenance is trickier for me because I don't necessarily want to lose a lot more weight, but it's like one of those things where it's like if it's working, why mess with it? You know? And so I have to remind
Yeah,
myself that like I overcomplicate things if I try to lengthen my window and mess with what I'm eating, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's just don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
I agree. Sometimes I get in that mindset too. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw in some ADF," and I do like it, and I'll just try a few different things, but I always go back to, I'm like, "Well, this works for me,
Yeah.
and I like it. It's sustainable." And
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. That's great.
Yeah.
What kind of food choices have changed? What does your eating look like now?
Well, I definitely feel my best when I break my fast with like protein and fiber. So I read a book called Glucose Revolution, which I really love. That actually helped me kind of figure out a way to feast that works well for my body. The clean fast, Jen doesn't really give like dieting advice. It's all about figuring out what works best for you. And so when I read Glucose Revolution, that kind of unlocked some things for me as far as like how to get off that roller coaster of glucose highs and lows and cravings and hunger. that it works really well with a fasting lifestyle, I think. Um, and and I don't restrict or say like I can't there isn't any food I say I can't have any longer, but I know that like ultra processed foods will make me feel terrible. They will also, mess with my hormones, my hunger hormones and cause me to have cravings and overeat because if you're not feeding your cells good nutrients, it's going to keep telling you to eat more. And
Yes,
so for me, like breaking my fast with like protein and veggies is usually the way I go. I eat a lot of eggs as
I
a
love
fast
eggs.
breaker, egg scrambles and yeah, things like that. And then I usually have like just a full dinner and sometimes a little bit of dessert when I'm done. Yeah.
And it just seems to work. And in your
Yeah.
group, you often post pictures of your meals and they look delicious and satisfying
Yes. Yes.
and
That is
healthy,
one of
but
the
I
things
can
I
attest you're
started
eating all the
doing.
things.
I eat all the things. I do. Yeah.
I do
That is
too.
one of the things I decided to do as just as a way of accountability for myself and then also to show people, especially people who have, dieted their whole lives and felt like the only way that they could manage their weight is by counting calories and restricting that you don't have to. And so it's shows accountability. It's accountability for me um, to just stay on top of what I'm doing. And then hopefully offering some food freedom, to other people who are following along. And what we're talking about is I have a little Facebook group called
Yes,
Intermittent Fast with Wendy. Yeah.
it's called intermittent fasting with Wendy. It's fasting,
Intermittent
right?
Fast with Wendy. Intermittent
Intermittent
Fast
fast
with
with
Wendy.
what? Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a member of that group as well. It's a fun group. You're
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
inspiring. And I think that's a really good idea just to go back to like Jen doesn't post what she eats. And I think that makes sense, right? But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people do wonder. And I kind of do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. I travel for work, Wendy, and a lot of people ask questions like, how do you do that while you're traveling? I'm actually quite easily, and I like to
Oh,
show pictures
yeah.
of the kind of things I'm eating. And it's actually better on the road sometime than at home. I'm eating these beautiful salads and sushi and fresh fish from like the best restaurants. And, it's a lot of fun to show people I'm still enjoying food for sure.
It also simplifies travel so much because you're not
Oh my
like
gosh.
because when you can fast and you're a lot not like, "Oh, where am I gonna find something good to eat?" And if you can keep it to like a one meal a day kind of thing, you only have to find it for this certain amount of time and you can schedule it around when you're gonna land somewhere or, I think it
Absolutely.
makes it easy.
When I travel, I most often do one meal a day. So it's like I could go throughout my whole day. I could drive to all the businesses I need to visit and whatnot. I don't stop at lunch. I used to stop and get fast food or something, but now it's
Mhm.
not even like a blip on the radar.
Right.
I just wait
Right.
until my day is over and I enjoy an amazing meal and I move on.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Who has time for all of that eating?
Well, and I kind of also like once my window's open, it's on. I'm like, give me the next thing to eat. Like I love not thinking about food during the day. That's a huge
Yes.
thing for me because even when I was dieting and when I was heavy, I was always thinking about what I was going to eat next. If I wasn't planning and obsessing about calories, I was like, "Ooh, what yummy thing am I gonna eat next, So it's
Yeah,
nice to
almost
not
to
be
a
doing
point
that.
of obsession. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In fact, my husband
Abs
still tells me, he's like, I was a food pusher. I was like, I woke up talking about food. I would get irritated if he didn't eat lunch on time because he wouldn't be hungry for dinner, and now I don't care. I just realized he won't die and he's going to make it. Right. Yeah. So
Yes,
thank
that's so
goodness.
good. Yeah.
Even when I cook a nice dinner, I'm like, how did I have time to do this more than once a day?
Yeah.
I can never go
Right?
backwards.
Oh my gosh, so much work. And money, you
Yeah.
save money too.
Oh,
You
yes.
save
Yes. Sometimes I do
money on
spend a little more
groceries?
money on good quality foods, but yeah,
Yes.
definitely,
That
definitely
makes a
saving
huge
money.
difference.
Yes. So I would say that's how it has affected my like mindset and stress levels. Do you think it has helped with your stress levels, your mindset, your
Oh,
overall well-being?
100%. I think that my belief is that you get healthy in one area of your life and it automatically will spill over into others. For me, it started with an emotional getting healthy emotionally, and that led to me wanting to take care of my body physically. And then in doing intermittent fasting, just reinforce other good positive behaviors for me in other areas of my life too. Like that the discipline that we um we get by delaying food. You learn that like instant gratification always doesn't always lead to the best outcomes in life. Del- delaying delaying the things that we want to do or that we think are fun or whatever, and doing the things that are best for us first. There's a lot of good in that.
There's a lot of power in that too, and it helps with confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when you set a goal and you stick to it, it just helps you build more confidence, and then it's like a ripple effect. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, you're making better choices all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so
Yes,
good.
I just love it. So, one thing I have been asking is about hormones. Do you feel like intermittent fasting has affected your hormone health, or how have you
Mm.
utilized that during your life transitions?
Yeah. Well, for sure, getting like all of your hunger hormones in balance is like a huge, huge win. I had never really understood that. Even though I was never like diagnosed with pre-diabetes or diabetes or was diabetic at all, I was definitely insulin resistant. And
Yes.
learning about how to get insulin low during your fast and how that affects insulin sensitivity, um, has been really, really life changing for me. And I also, like, over the past couple of years, like, partnered with my doctor. Like, oh my gosh, I went in, I did a whole like probably 6 months worth of like testing my blood sugar in response to like what I was eating and how I was responding to certain foods. And I had all these graphs and and
Uh, were
tables
you
and
doing it
things, and like,
yourself, or did you have a unit? What's it called?
no, I
A
did not
glucose
have
monitor.
a CGM. I just was doing a finger prick. And so what I would do
Oh,
was during my eating window, I would test my blood sugar like every half hour. And so like I was testing it like between 8 and 10 times in a 4-hour eating window
mm,
just so that I could kind of track. I mean, you have 10 fingers, and so I would just poke all my fingers. But it was fascinating what I learned. And so I went in with my graphs and things and like showed my doctor. And my doctor was like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could get my diabetic patients to like come talk to you and learn from you because this information is invaluable." So um thankfully she did would order like a fasting insulin test for me, and we would talk every time I would go in. We would talk about fasting and what I was learning, and she was fascinated by it. So it was really helpful to have a healthcare provider that was like on board with living a fasting lifestyle.
that's so helpful.
Th- yeah, this will lead us to a different topic though, um,
Yes,
because and if you're okay if I just move into that, is that all right?
absolutely. Yes, let's talk about it. So,
Okay.
you have recently shared that you have a diagnosis.
Yes. Last in 2024, I was set to just have my regular yearly physical. I had been noticing like in the months probably 6 months prior, like I was just feeling more and more fatigued, which I was chalking up to, perimenopause. Was
Yeah,
approaching 50 or had just turned 50. And then I also, because of my gastric bypass surgery, I was having some gastrointestinal things that were bothering me, but like again was just chalking that up to a side effect from that surgery.
yeah.
I went in for my yearly physical, and the thing is, thank God, um, I have been consistent about seeing the doctor every year.
Thank goodness. Yes.
Yeah. Thank God, because what ended up happening was my blood work came back and all of my liver enzymes were elevated. And my doctor called me and was like, "You're so healthy. Like, are you taking like a new supplement? Is there anything that you've been doing? And are you in any pain?" And I had been having some like burning in my abdomen, but I thought maybe I had an ulcer. And it would come and go. It wasn't like constant. I mean, I think
Uh-huh.
sometimes we think of pain as like a stabbing or an aching or a this, but it could also be just something that feels off. As I was learning to pay more attention to cues from my body, I still was overlooking some things that should have alerted me that something was off. And so, we can beat ourselves up and say like, "Oh, if only I'd paid attention." But we do the best we can until we know more, until we learn more.
I think we all do that. Yes.
Yeah. But I would say don't ignore something. If you have a symptom or something that's nagging at you, please don't ignore it and get in to see your doctor and push for tests. Because what ended up happening was, I after a series of tests, I was diagnosed with a cancer, a bile duct cancer, which is in my liver. It's called cholangiocarcinoma. And I have intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma. That's a big mouthful. And it's basically the bile
Mm.
ducts that are in my liver are cancerous. And I have a
Okay.
tumor. By the time I was diagnosed, I had a tumor that was 13 centimeters large. So it had been growing. It had been growing for probably 2 years, they said. And the crazy
Wow.
thing about this specific cancer is that most people are not diagnosed until later stages because it doesn't cause any symptoms in the early stages. If somebody finds it, it's usually a fluke, like they broke an arm and had a CT scan or something and they see something in their liver.
Oh,
It's really kind of crazy. So that started a series of tests. I had a biopsy done and became a patient of a cancer center that's near me called City of Hope. And we did a lot of crazy advocating in that first month to make sure that I could get started right away. And the amazing thing about that was when I spoke with the surgeon I saw in September, he said if I had not started treatment when I did in December of 2024, I probably wouldn't have made it to January of 25. He said it
wow.
was that advanced. And yeah, so
It was stage 4 at that point, right?
yes, yes, it's stage 4.
Yes.
It's it's a little disheartening. I am still inoperable. Unfortunately, the cancer is growing around a really important vein that leads from your intestines to your liver. And so they're not able to get like clean margins to do a resection surgery for me. But we're making the best of it. And I went through a lot of treatment in this last year. Right now, I'm just currently on immunotherapy only, but I did 7 months of chemo last year and had a big radiation procedure called a Y90 where they infused the tumor with like radioactive microspheres and it killed
Uh-huh.
off about 80% of that tumor. And so
Okay.
we're just knocking on wood that I will continue to stay stable as long as we can and go from there. Because there is no cure for this cancer other than surgery right now.
Okay.
But it's
Well,
just making the best of it.
thank you so much for your openness with sharing that. I'm
Yeah, of
sure that's really
course.
changed your perspective on a lot of things. How has it
Yeah.
changed your perspective on your health now?
Yeah. Well, just with like losing weight, with if we can control our effort, but we can't control outcome. And this is so true in every aspect of life. You work hard at something and you get fired from a job or invest all of this time and energy into a relationship and it ends up falling apart. We can control our part, but we can't necessarily control the outcome. And so I am learning to hold things a lot looser as far as what I can control and what I can't. And that, like, if I feel good about my effort, that's what I always come back to. Do I feel good about the effort that I've put into this project or this thing or my health or Do I feel good about what I've put into my body as far as what I've eaten, what I've consumed as far as media? What do I feel good about, how I've communicated with my loved ones, how they respond, how my body responds, how this cancer responds to treatment? I can't control. I can't control it. And so learning to let go of outcomes has been it's a hard process. It's a daily process of learning to let go and trust that I'm doing my part and that there's just stuff in life that we cannot control. And do I believe that like I'm being held through all of it no matter what the outcome is, you know? And so I'm a
Yeah.
person of faith. I'm a person of faith and I believe that God is walking me through um this whole season, through every season as we look back on our life, that like it may not have gone the way that I had planned it, but I can look back and see that there was guidance and protection and wisdom that grew during a particularly hard season. And I trust that like no matter what happens in the long run, I'm still going to have, it's going to be worked out for my good ultimately, and how we define good sometimes is by how it feels to us. I just don't think we see the big picture all the time. So there's that. Let me get
Yes.
nice and deep for
Well,
you on a Saturday morning.
well, that perspective is very powerful. I know that it will resonate with a lot of people,
Yeah.
that we're not in control of everything, and something that I also come from, a background of faith, and my mother always said, "Let go and let God," and sometimes
Yeah.
that's he gives you no other choice, right?
Yeah. 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 And we'll all face it. The circumstances may be different, but I do think that the ultimate lesson is the same for all of us in the fact that like we just cannot always control what the outcomes are in our lives. And so if you can feel really good about the effort that you put in to something, and that should be what you focus on as far as your success. And how we define success isn't necessarily the way that life will create it for us. And when I look back at my life and the richness of relationships and what I've learned, like I'm so rich, you know? and so successful. Whereas if somebody was looking in on my life and they're like, oh my gosh, she's got stage 4 cancer. And, like they wouldn't necessarily think that I would be as happy and at peace as I am.
Yes, and some days you have to choose to be happy, and I'm sure some days are easier than others.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that, and
Sure.
I am curious, just going back to fasting for a moment. So
Yes.
you
Yeah.
are still
Yeah.
fasting,
I am.
and yes, and I'm glad that you are. And you had mentioned that at this point in time, it is inoperable.
Mhm.
But do you and your doctors feel like fasting is a benefit to your health right now?
I definitely believe my oncologist basically said it's not going to hurt you is what what he said,
Okay.
like it's not going to hurt you. But I have read other studies where fasting definitely is a benefit for living with cancer and treating cancer. I'm sure you've discussed before, like we our metabolisms go into a different process when we're fasting, and autophagy and cellular repair and cellular cleansing ups during those hours when we fast. And so I'm trusting that like I'm just doing something good for my body when I fast, and helping aid
Yes.
it in healing and fighting off disease. It also just because I have a digestive tract cancer, like this cancer is in my liver, especially when I first started and my portal vein was severely constricted. So anytime I ate, I was really uncomfortable after
Okay.
after eating. Now, the radiation procedure that I had has released that portal vein up a lot, and so um, I feel a lot better after eating now. But even still, there was concern when I started treatment that I would lose a lot of weight, and so they had told me to up my protein intake. to, be focused on getting in good nutrition. And so, like, I lengthened my eating window to like 8 hours and was trying to get in, more and more protein during the day. And I just felt awful. I was
Yeah.
like bloated after eating, and the chemo was causing me to be bloated, and I was just miserable. And so, like, when I went into my second cycle of chemotherapy, I had read a study about doing a 3-day fast, kind of sandwiching your chemotherapy, fasting the day before, fasting the day of chemo, and fasting the day after. And so I did a little longer extended fast and tried that. And I lost like 11 pounds of inflammation. My
Wow.
stomach had been so bloated and distended, and then it was gone after that. Now, I didn't continue that regimen through all of chemotherapy, but just went back to a regular 24 protocol. I did a
Yeah.
maybe a couple days of ADF during that time, but just giving my body that rest, my digestive system that rest that very first time, kind of like reset things for me, and I've been able to feel so much better since then. And so I definitely will continue living a fasting lifestyle no matter what, because I just feel like it's doing the best for me.
Absolutely. And this is a definitely a more powerful why. If autophagy could
Oh
help you
gosh, yes.
to feel better and help with your cancer treatments and all of the things, then why would you ever stop, right?
Yeah, yeah. And in the meantime, just even still, like, the fact that I've maintained this weight loss, for over 5 years now is just an incredible achievement for me, having yo-yoed my whole life. And but now that it's not about weight loss anymore, it's about my health and my vitality and trying to extend my life as long as possible. And just, yeah, an incredibly powerful why.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what Jen always says. It's the a health plan with the side effect of weight loss.
Yes,
So
yes,
many of us come to it for weight loss, myself included,
yes.
but I will never stop fasting. And I don't have a cancer diagnosis, but
Mhm.
I have already thought about if I ever had one, I would lean into fasting. It makes sense to me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what other surprising benefits have you experienced from intermittent fasting beyond weight loss?
I've met a lot of great people. That I
Me
think
too.
that I think has been one of the best benefits. I mean, yeah, getting involved in Jen's community. I was on her podcast a couple of years ago, and just getting to know her more on a personal level was really really awesome. And just watching how she lives out her life with her community is awesome. And then just
Yes.
just other great people have come into my life. Whenever you share something with somebody, we're choosing to live this lifestyle in a society that is all about, like, having food availability all the time, everywhere,
Uh-huh.
24/7, and we're doing something different. And so it's great to have the support and encouragement of other people who are living that same lifestyle, right? But
Absolutely.
but I feel like, yeah, just some of the most quality people in my life have come from my fasting community, which is amazing. And so I had somebody who had recommended, like, "Oh, you should start your own fasting group." So I literally started with like 10 friends, because I was posting about, like, on my personal social media, right? Like, what I was eating and what I was learning, and for the people that follow me, just to see, like, cute pics of my husband and me and my dog, and
Your
they're
dog?
like, that, like, okay, we're done seeing what you eat and talking about fasting. We don't want to do that. And so I started a group and solely post about fasting stuff, mostly in there now. But yeah, it started with 10 people, and then it just continued to slowly grow. And I think I have like 4,600 people in that group now. And it's just awesome to know that, like, my little life, my little story, what I learn day to day, and sharing that with others is hopefully affecting other people positively too. Yeah. We all we all have the ability to impact our communities for good. And, getting to share IF with everybody has just been one of my biggest blessings. I love it.
Same here. I just feel really called to share it with others. And just like you
Hmm.
shared on my personal Facebook feed, I'm like, well, this is more for like my family, and I'll give them the choice if they want to follow along. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
slowly has grown, excuse me. And it just gives me a safe place, like you said, to post those pictures of food or talk
Hmm.
about fasting. And I love talking to other fasters. I learned so much from them.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to a podcast or anything, I always take away something.
Yeah. Well, and I'm kind of a data nerd too. Like I love collecting data and geeking out over like looking back and seeing what my progress has been. There's two schools of thought about, tracking your progress. Like there are people that weigh every day and take a weekly average, which is me, and then people who just ditch the scale completely and, try on their honesty pants once a month or whatever. And I full heartedly support either, but my geeky, like scientific brain loves researching all this data and seeing the proof on the paper that what I'm doing is working. And I just love it. I love it.
That's a great tip that I used as well when I was in my weight loss phase that I'd like to get back to. But weighing every day and then taking your weekly average, because you could get
Hmm.
frustrated by the small fluctuations. But if you look at the whole week, most often you'll be down. Even if it's a fraction of a pound, you'll be able to take that average. And I
Hmm.
loved it too. I had all this data, and you may remember, but the one app I was using, it crashed and I lost all my data. So
Yes.
and like they got rid of it. It was the Life app or something. All my data
Yes.
was gone. So I flipped a little bit. I'm like, I'm going to use this moment to embrace honesty pants. And
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
still feel I do weigh in, and I do better when I weigh every day. So it's
Yeah.
been like a thing I've been trying to do at least more often, a few times a week, because, it could creep up pretty quickly
Hmm.
sometimes without realizing
Yeah.
it. A lot of my honesty pants maybe weren't honest enough.
Yeah. I in November I do no weigh November. And so I don't weigh for the month of November typically. And I that has also
Oh,
been,
that's smart.
yeah, an interest. It just shakes it up, changes it up. It's like um want because I don't want to be dependent upon the scale to show me whether or not I'm doing a good job or not, or you know it's just one measurement. It's just one measurement, and there's so
Yes,
much more.
I like the idea of it, right? But it
Yeah,
does help.
yeah,
I'm just a
yeah.
relaxed kind of person. And when I started intermittent fasting, it's because I wanted to simplify my life. But stepping on the
S-
scale real
So
quick
good.
isn't that hard.
No. Well, and especially like I have a smart scale. I have a Renfo scale, and it just tracks all that data
Same.
for me, and so it's not like when I first started doing a weekly average, had a spreadsheet, and I actually have the file in my group so people can download it and use it. It's just a simple little template that I made. But it was so helpful for me to see. It's like it healed my diet brain almost immediately. Like the effect that the scale would have on my mood if I saw it bump up or down.
Yeah.
Because it's also easy to get a little cocky sometimes when you see the scale go down. And then I would loosen up on my fasting, and then next thing I knew it would bump back up again. And it was like, okay, if you just ignore the daily number and just look at the trend of what the weekly average is doing over a period of a month or 3 months, it's much more effective that way. Yeah.
The other thing I was doing with my Renfo scale, there's two things I did, little tips, but I stopped looking at it like for a
Yeah.
week. I wouldn't look at
Yeah.
it for the whole week, and I would just stare at the wall. It was really hard. I'm like, don't do it, girl. Just keep your eyes up
I love it.
and not look at it for the whole week, or I'd stand on it backwards. And that actually helped me get out of that diet brain, because I found myself blaming things. I'm like, I'm up a pound. Looks like I can't have cookies, or
Uh-huh.
something. I'm getting
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mad
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
myself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's total diet brain. Calm down, Erica.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. And not everybody has this problem, but I had to really think about it. My scale was downstairs and my bedroom's upstairs. And the one challenge I had, I don't know about where you live in California, but it's cold here. So like I hated going downstairs, having to take off my clothes again. And but if it's right here in my upstairs bathroom, I just sneak over there and do it before I get dressed in the morning. And that actually it was silly, but I'm like, this is
Yeah.
helping me
Yeah.
commit. So think
Yeah.
about where your scale is. Maybe it needs to
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those little daily rituals can either make or break our success sometimes. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely messing up my day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad I figured that out. So, we did talk about some tools and resources that you recommend, such as your own group that you could go
Mhm.
follow.
Mhm.
But what other books and social groups, what
Oh,
do you
yeah.
recommend to people?
So I did mention that book, Glucose Revolution. I really loved. There's a couple
Yes,
others. There's a book called Ultra Processed People. I'm sure. Have you read
that's a
that
good one
one?
as well. Yes, I've read that one. And I'm going to look up Glucose Revolution. Is that the glucose goddess?
Yes. Yes. If you follow her on
Yes,
social media,
yes,
I really love her principles are very simple. You don't have to buy any of her products for her systems to work. And so
I agree.
she basically just has a couple principles of like making sure that you eat food in the right order. That you always start with fiber, then have protein and fat, and then have your carbohydrates last.
Yes,
It basically like creates, think of your stomach as like a sink that's draining into a pipe. You're filling it with all this fiber first so that it slows down the absorption of carbohydrates, which then flattens out your glucose curves as it hits your bloodstream. And so it's
yes,
when we eat carbs and sugar and stuff on an empty stomach, we have a huge spike in glucose, which then causes a big crash, you know, and a couple of hours later, which then starts off these cycles of hunger and craving. And if you can get
yes.
that curve to flatten out, you stay a lot more satiated and just yeah, you don't get
I love
hangry.
it. I don't wanna get hangry. Her name is Jessie, and I'm gonna mess up her last name. It starts with an I.
It's like
Inchaus.
in Shaspe.
Yes. Yes, she has
I
a
don't know how
pleasant
to pronounce
accent. I
it.
don't know where she's from,
She's
but,
French. She's French.
French,
Yeah.
thank you. And on her Instagram, I really love it. I don't know if you are on Instagram or not, but
Yeah.
she'll show like if you just had a bagel or if you would have had the bagel with eggs and tomato and lettuce, right? It
Yes.
shows how it flattens out that curve and creates
Yes.
less of an insulin spike. So
Yes.
she's really clear, but you're right. She started selling a product I'm not aware of. And then I think she had a baby and she wrote a book on
Mhm. Yes.
this. So really interesting if anybody's in that phase of their life.
Yeah, because one of the things that she also one of her hacks, her glucose hacks, is having vinegar. Sorry, that's my dog.
Oh, yes, I love him. He's cute. I know you from Facebook. Yes, vinegar too. I did that the other day. I'll have like pickles or something first. Hi, buddy.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and so I think what she ended up doing was creating a product that kind of works like the vinegar does, but it's in a pill form for people
Okay.
who don't like the taste of vinegar. But again, like I don't think you need any of those products for her hacks to work along with intermittent fasting. That like kind of upped my game as far as managing glucose and insulin, especially if you're insulin sensitive or it's taking you a while to become fat adapted. Then getting your fasting insulin down, it's a great tool to help you do that.
I agree. It's a great tool. And at first some now it just seems so obvious. It's even how they serve you at restaurants, like with your salad first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But people are like, "What is with your weird salad obsession?" I'm like, "I just like to start with vegetables." It's not it makes sense to me. And once you start, it really just makes a big difference.
Well, and it also goes along with that concept of like crowding out junk with good stuff first. And so if you're getting
Yes,
in like your whole nutrient dense foods first, then you're less likely to overeat the stuff that's junky. So
I
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
good
good.
tip. Good tip. Check her out. So, what advice would you give to somebody who's just beginning intermittent fasting or someone who's considering trying it?
I would say that the most important thing for me with becoming a healthier person is learning that taking care of yourself is a form of love, you know, and intermittent fasting is a form of loving your body. And one of the things that I learned is that you can't, I keep toying with whether or not I'm going to turn this into a book someday, but that you can't hate your way to health. You can't hate your
Okay.
way to health. And so many of us, you know, think of diet and exercise as a form of punishment. And intermittent fasting is joyful and freeing. And it just changed the way that I looked at taking care of myself as a form of love versus a form of punishment for struggling with food. And that if you can get your hunger hormones, your insulin, your hunger hormones into balance, it doesn't feel like punishment at all to fast. It's freedom. It's absolutely freedom.
I agree. Fasting is freedom. I remember just really thinking about or being angry at myself for being hungry and not understanding
Mhm.
why. And it turns out it was a chemical reaction and it was insulin resistance. And once I figured that all out, it became freedom, not torture at
Yeah.
all. In fact,
Yeah.
I appreciate a good fast. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. And once you learn too that hunger won't build, that it's more like waves that come and go, and that if you learn how to wait them out, they lessen. And I think that's another important thing to know, because people give up early because they just are, you know, frustrated because they are so hungry or whatever. But learning that it will lessen over time and it will get better and easier, and to get to that place where like I never get hungry like I used to. You know, like sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could eat now, but like it's never because I'm like, I'm starving, you know? It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's always a choice and not out of desperation. And
And you
just
and you
like
make
you, I
better
struggled
decisions
with
that way.
some, yeah,
Yeah.
binge eating where I was just trying to get full quickly. I wanted to satisfy that. And now that's
Mhm.
not now I'm excited to like taste the food and chew the food. It's not about swallowing, if that makes sense. It's more excitement
Yeah.
about enjoying the flavors.
Oh, that's good. I love that. I love
I
that.
love that too. I love that. Yes, February is Cholangiocarcinoma Awareness Month. And how are you going to? I'm excited to help support that. So, how can other
Thank
people help
you.
draw
Thank
awareness
you.
to this cause, or what kind of things do you do to help draw awareness?
So there's a foundation, the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, which people can donate to. They support research and funding for continued cancer research. And there's a number of different ways they have merchandise you can buy. You can buy shirts
Yeah.
and things like that. They also lighting up structures green, because green, like a Kelly green, is the color of cholangiocarcinoma. And so you're going to see me sporting Kelly green a lot in the month of February as I post and talk about it.
Green is my
And
color, and go follow Wendy. Yes, I will be wearing it as well.
yes, yes. And so I'm attempting to get my city to light up our public library green for the month of February. So I just started. I'm a little late on the on putting in this request, but I'm hoping I can make it happen.
Well, it's January 24th. I think that a library can make something happen in a week. How
I
can
mean,
I
all you have to
help?
do is get
I'll write a
some green light bulbs. Yeah,
Yeah, they probably have them from Christmas. That's easy.
yeah,
Govies.
yeah.
Yes. No, I love this. Cholangiocarcinoma Awareness Month. The color is green. You could make a donation or draw awareness in your communities and support
Yes.
people with this going on as well.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm relatively new to learning about, and I
Hmm.
am going to be watching your journey, and I'm here with you every step
I
of the
think.
way,
Thank
helping
you.
to
Thank
support
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. And it's just been so lovely getting to chat with you this morning.
Absolutely, yes, it was the highlight of my day. Today is Saturday, and I woke up excited to talk to you, Wendy, so I
Thank you,
appreciate your
Erica.
time today. And is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience or talk about while we're on a call today?
Not that I can think of. Just know that
Okay.
you're worth it. You're worth taking care of.
You're worth it, yes, and
You're worth it.
self-care is so important, so take care of yourself, choose to be happy, and make each day important, right? Worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright. Thanks so much, Wendy.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pause and Fast podcast. It truly means the world to have you here showing up for yourself and for this community. So please remember to subscribe to this channel and like and share this video with anybody who's interested in intermittent fasting. If you want to keep the conversation going, then please join us at the Pause and Fast Facebook group. It's where we connect with each other and support each other on this journey. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram for more fasting tips and advice. And if you feel compelled to share your journey, I would be honored to hear it. So please email me at pause.and.fast@gmail.com. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. So thank you again for listening. And until then, I'm cheering you on. So let's keep moving forward for great health together. Have a great day.